Frequency Matters, the RF Microwave Update Series. I'm Pat Hindle, and I'm here with my co-host Gary LaRude. And as you can see, it's our annual holiday edition. And as is tradition, we usually review products. Last year, we looked at some very low-cost products that you could get to your favorite engineer. But this year, we thought we'd look at the high-performance products. So Gary and I made our top 10 list of products for the year. So I'm going to start with some test and measurement products. The first one I have is the rubidium signal generators from Anritsu, which redefine industry standards for spectral purity and stability. These signal sources go to 20 and 43.5 gigahertz and use atomic-grade frequency stability and have super clean phase noise of negative 140 dBc per hertz at 10 kilohertz offset from the 10 gigahertz carrier. So some amazing performance there. Next, we have the Rohde & Schwarz ATS 1800M, which is an extension to their ATS 1800C. It's a Catter-based 5G NR millimeter wave test chamber for OTA testing. By adding the two side chambers to the existing chamber, it turns it into a single system solution that enables full 3GPP specified conformance testing of a 5G NR millimeter wave device for radio resource management, including multiple angles of arrival. Next up, we have Keysight that just introduced this yesterday, a radar scene emulator, which enables testing of complex real-world driving scenarios for ADAS and auto autonomy. It combines hundreds of miniature RF front ends into a scalable emulation screen representing up to 512 objects and distances as close as 1.5 meters. And next, we have Virginia Diodes, compact converters, bypass filters, and waveguide amplifiers that were along with Keysight's arbitrary waveform generator, signal generator, digitizer, and vector signal analysis software created a wideband signal generation and analysis system at 140 gigahertz, and that was demonstrated at IMS 2021. And SignalHound introduced the affordable SM435B, a high-performance spectrum analyzer and monitoring receiver covering 100 kilohertz to 43.5 gigahertz, with up to 160 megahertz of instantaneous bandwidth, 110 dB dynamic range, and low phase noise, and 1 terahertz per second sweep speed at 30 kilohertz resolution bandwidth. So Gary, what are your top 5?
So looking at my top 5, it's an interesting collection starting with Aerovant. They have an orthomode transducer, which is also known as a polarization duplexer, that covers 23 to 44 gigahertz. So it supports all the current 5G millimeter wave bands and is a great item to have in the lab for testing these systems. Then from Marquee Microwave, we heard a recent webinar from them which highlighted some novel multiplier circuits for LO generation in the millimeter wave bands, and they can get all the way up to 125 gigahertz. From Analog Devices, 3 digitally controlled filters that provide band pass, high pass, low pass, bypass, and even all reject responses. And because these are digitally controlled, they can be tuned from VHF to 18 gigahertz. Then from Qorvo, kind of a unique product, a reconfigurable dual band GaN power amplifier. This operates either at 3.1 to 3.5 or 9 to 11 gigahertz and provides about 30 watts of output power. And rounding out my top 5, a MEMS RF switch from Menlo Micro. They've been doing a lot of work in this area the past number of years. And I think most of us know MEMS provide very low loss with high voltage and high temperature operation. So their switches are well suited for applications like switch matrices and switch filter banks. So that's my list.
Before we continue with the top 10 products, we had a really interesting interview for this episode. I talked to Erica Karachenko, who is a product manager at GVD Corporation, and they have a very interesting vapor-deposited conformal coating that's very rugged against harsh environments for both commercial and military applications. Let's take a look at a clip from that now. So GVD Corporation has developed an exciting new polymer. It's high performance for high frequency electronics. Can you tell us about its development and how it's different from traditional conformal coatings?
Yeah, absolutely. So Signal Seal which is the brand name for the coating you're referring to, is a novel silicone film that was originally developed at MIT as a capsule for sensitive electronic. Then when the defense industry voiced the need for robust yet low RF impact coating for military applications through one of the grants received by GVD, the coating was repurposed through the support from the US Navy, DARPA, as well as several tier 1 defense contractors who actually helped us understand the industry requirements and then performed a lot of the qualification testing that we now regularly reference. And then through that collaboration, after years of research and development, that implantable med device coating eventually evolved into a new generation conformal coating because of its favorable dielectric properties and the fact that it provides very thermally stable environmental protection at a thickness of only 1 micron, making it feasible to actually conformally coat high frequency circuits.
So yeah, that was a very interesting conformal coating that performs much better than what's available on the market now. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. We'll follow that along.
Definitely.
So let's continue with our top 10 products. We have 5 more each. Continuing on the test and measurement, I saw that MVG introduced a fast spherical near-field antenna measurement system for satellites a while back. The SG Evo is a multi-probe spherical near-field antenna measurement solution capable of testing a phased array antenna on high-throughput satellites, and it can be 10 to 100 times faster than the current near-field methodology. So that's a great improvement. And then we saw Emite, who released a unique fully automated feed antenna carousel for standardized 3GPP 38.141 5G GNO-B OTA testing using a 1.8 meter compact antenna test range in the Emite F100 anechoic chamber. The antenna carousel is capable of providing fully automated measurements for the frequency range of an amazing 1 to 220 gigahertz for both vertical and horizontal polarizations. And then this was just introduced really recently, and this could be the first time you'll be hearing the specs on it. Mini Circuits introduced their first VNA, I think it's called the eVNA. It operates from 300 kilohertz to 6 gigahertz. It has dynamic range of better than 120 dB and trace noise of better than 0.008 dB RMS. Another great feature is the output power goes from -50 to +7 dBm, and it has integrated bias Ts allowing the power to the DUT directly through the VNA, and also comes with standard time domain features. This is the first time this information has been disclosed, so we'll see how the reaction is to the market for this, because the price is $7,995, so it's much under $10K, which I think performs better than other low-cost VNAs. And I also had a couple software mentions. Cadence acquired AWR from National Instruments in 2020, and the latest version 16 release of Cadence AWR Design Environment Platform offers a complete and comprehensive RF workflow. The new version 16 release enables at least 50% reduction in turnaround time through the workflow automation and enables integration of heterogeneous technologies. And they also have integrated with Rohde & Schwarz for test software to verify all in the same environment. And finally, my last one is ANSYS introduced 2 new tools for RF and microwave filter design and analysis. Both can save weeks on the design and test time for filter development. The first is ANSYS NeuHertz Filter Solutions, which dramatically reduces the speeds up to the design of various filters and automating the whole process. You can actually just pick a filter type and put in some specs and it will design it for you, and then you can optimize from there. And the second tool is ANSYS partner company's SynMatrix. The SynMatrix solution offers arbitrary topology filter synthesis, analysis, and optimization. So that completes my top 10, Gary. How about your other 5?
Well, my other 5 starts with Anokiwave. They have introduced a family of what they call innovator kits, and these are actual phased arrays for the 5G and SATCOM millimeter wave bands, which allow equipment manufacturers to quickly evaluate array-level performance using Anokiwave's RFICs. Then, higher frequency Sivers Semiconductors introduced a 16-channel beamforming transceiver that covers the full 57 to 71 gigahertz unlicensed band, and it's available either as a packaged RFIC or it can be integrated with an antenna array. TMY Technology introduced a 5G millimeter wave developer kit for research, for prototyping, for university-level lab courses, and it includes all of the millimeter wave hardware and software that's required to demonstrate and evaluate array-level performance. And we're seeing this as a trend because the arrays are hard to demonstrate, And so a lot of people are introducing, in effect, evaluation kits at the array level. Continuing with my list, Pervisus has a rack-mounted, software-defined radio with storage for spectrum monitoring, recording, and playback. The Cyan SDR scans from near DC to 18 gigahertz, and it can be configured with up to 16 independent channels, each with 1 gigahertz of instantaneous bandwidth, so that's impressive. And then wrapping up my list, Huber and Sooner introduced the MX-PM90, which is a multi-coax interconnect for high-speed digital systems with good performance to 90 gigahertz. So the frequency between RF and digital is shrinking. And I think with that, we wrap up our list of top products. It's amazing to see the number of products that have been developed. And as you can tell from the list, there's a lot of activity in the millimeter wave spectrum. And with that, we wrap up another holiday episode of Frequency Matters. We want to thank our sponsors, RFMW and GVD. RFMW is a distributor of RF, microwave, and millimeter wave products, from semiconductors to filters and virtually everything else in the product portfolio. They represent the leading companies in the industry. And we welcome GVD Corporation as a sponsor this episode. They create ultra-thin polymer coatings using a solvent-free low-temperature process. Well, 2021 has been another historic year for the industry and for each of us personally. The industry has proven to be resilient, and we hope you've found equanimity for yourself and your families during the year. We appreciate your support of Microwave Journal this year, and we pledge to continue telling the story of the amazing technologies and people we all work with. Stay safe, and we'll be back next year.
Happy holidays.